We see them literally every day, crisscrossing the sky above our work sites, overhead power lines. They're so common, it's actually really easy to get a little complacent, to kind of forget the silent, invisible danger they're packing. And we're not just talking about getting a direct shock. We're talking about a threat that can reach right out and grab you.
So, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How close is too close? When you're guiding a crane, or maybe just extending a ladder, what is the real danger zone? You'd probably be pretty surprised to learn that the safe distance is a whole lot further than your gut might tell you. And this is the thing that makes these lines so incredibly deadly. High voltage electricity, well, you don't even have to touch it. It can literally leap through the air, it's a phenomenon called arcing, and find a path to the ground, right through you or your equipment. It creates this invisible field of danger. So guessing, that's just not going to fly. You absolutely need a system. And that is exactly where this simple but incredibly powerful framework comes in, the three-zone safety system. Think of it as a clear, visual way to manage the risk. It takes all the guesswork out of the equation and replaces it with clear, non-negotiable rules. Okay, here it is. This is the heart of the whole system. The easiest way to think about it is like a traffic light for safety, right there on your site. Red, yellow, and green. Each color defines a specific zone with its own set of life-saving rules. You can see how it clearly maps out the risk as you get closer to that line. So let's dive in and break it down, starting with the most dangerous zone. First up, the big one, the red zone. The name itself is a huge warning. When those power lines are live, this is an absolute 100% no-go zone. And here is probably the most important number you're going to hear today, 3 meters. Burn this number into your brain. Any part of your body, any piece of your equipment, if it comes within 3 meters of a live power line, you are officially in the red zone. Look, the rule for this zone could not be simpler, and it is absolute. If that power is on, you do not enter this zone. Period. Full stop. This is where the risk of a fatal electrical arc is at its absolute highest. So let's just make this crystal clear. Inside 3 meters, that's the red zone. Entry while the power is on is strictly forbidden. The only exception, the power has been confirmed to be shut off and you are physically holding a signed permit to work. Without that piece of paper, you do not cross that line. Okay, so if we take a step back from that super dangerous red zone, we find ourselves in our next area, the yellow zone. You should think of this as a critical buffer zone, an area of heightened awareness where you've got to follow some very specific safety rules. Now this yellow zone, it extends from that 3-meter red zone boundary all the way out to 6.4 meters. So you've got a bit more distance for sure, but you are definitely not in the clear just yet. And here we have the single most important rule for this zone. You can't just wander in. Any person, any piece of equipment that needs to operate in the yellow zone requires a dedicated, trained spotter. Their one and only job is to be a second set of eyes, constantly watching that distance to the power line. So, to recap the yellow zone real quick, between 3 and 6.4 meters from the line, you need a spotter. It's really that simple. Their entire focus is on one thing, making sure you never, ever accidentally drift into that red zone. And finally, we get to our outermost boundary, the green zone. This is where you can breathe a little easier. It's the area where, with all the standard precautions, it's considered safe for general work to happen. The boundary is super straightforward. Any area more than 6.4 meters away from those overhead power lines, well, you're in the green zone. So, when you look at them side by side like this, the dividing line is unmistakable, right? Inside that 6.4 meter mark, you're in the yellow zone, and a spotter is absolutely mandatory. Step just outside that line and you're in the green zone, clear for normal work. This isn't a suggestion. It's a hard rule that gets rid of any gray area. Now, knowing the zones is one thing, but actually putting that knowledge into practice every single time, that's what really matters. So let's translate the system into a simple 3-step safety checklist you can use. There are 3 steps, and they are non-negotiable. First, you plan. That means doing a formal job safety analysis to identify every single potential hazard. Second, you get permission. And I don't mean just a verbal, okay, this is a formal high-voltage electrical vicinity permit. And third, you supervise. A designated supervisor has to be on site, actively making sure these safe distances are being respected at all times. And this is the one thought I really want to leave you with. Before you start any task, before you even take a single step, I want you to look up at those power lines and ask yourself, can I see the zones? Can you mentally paint the red, the yellow, and the green onto the world around you? Because visualizing that safety map, that's not just a mental exercise.
It is the critical first step to making sure you and your entire team go home safe at the end of every day.